Don't sing. You've heard him sing, right?
I was in musicals in high school.
Love it. I was too, but I still don't think we should have them sing.
I'll make a promise, Marcia. I won't sing for you. You don't make other people sing for me.
Okay.
Somebody asked me the other day if I took woods class in high school. I was like, no, but I did a lot of theater.
Were they surprised?
No, as a matter of fact, they weren't.
Call the meeting to order. Indication.
Father, we love you. We thank you for such a beautiful day. Warm sunshine, Lord. Thank you for the turn of spring, bright horizon. Lord, we thank you for this meeting, for all of those that serve our community. I pray your blessing on every decision, your leadership, protection on all of us. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Ash, second by Commissioner Hutchinson to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to action agenda, the minutes of the April 7th, 2021 meeting. Oh, yeah, sorry. Public comments. Go back. This is the time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you state your name and address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. No one online? Okay. Now we'll move on to the action agenda. Thank you for the correction.
I move to approve the minutes from the April 7th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Hutchinson, second by Commissioner Wentz to approve the minutes from the April 7th, 2021 meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to appropriation ordinance number 7.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 7. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Wentz, second by Commissioner Hatch to approve appropriation ordinance number 7. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the taxiway ceiling bids.
Mayor Commissioners, Brad Waller from Benish is on Zoom for us, and he'll present the way that the bid letting turned out and his recommendation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, working. Good evening, everyone. I'll be pretty brief here. This was several, maybe some years in the planning and then at least several months in the submittal of the grant. As you may recall, in the fall, we submitted a grant application to receive funding from FAA for, I just closed my window, for the project. Back in, at that time, we submitted funding for roughly $168,000. That was a total estimate of the project that would come in with the city paying 10% of the funding. This would be the 90% would be covered by FAA and their general entitlement funding project. Last fall, you authorized Alfred Benish and Company to do the design, construction services, project closeout, management, and bidding for this project. That totaled $44,000. So that has already been selected and awarded. We worked with FAA and the city to get our design done, put it out to bid about a month ago. We bid it yesterday and had 2 bidders. We had Farner Asphalt Sealers and Votes Parga. Our opinion of probable cost was $131,000, and the 2 bids came in at $94,500 approximately, and $114,800. The low bid, apparent low bidder, was Farner Asphalt Sealers. I have got letters of recommendations from them. I have talked to other engineers that have worked with them, and I have no concerns that they can do the work. This is pretty much all they do is this type of seal coat and crack seal work. So I have put together a letter of recommendation. I believe it's in your packet, recommending that you move forward with selection of them. With the engineer's estimate budget in there, as I mentioned, the project was budgeted to FAA for about 170,000 total. We are coming in with a total of 139,000 now. That includes engineering and the contractor. So the federal share will be about 125,000, and the local share will be 13,900. That is below the 16,800 we had planned in the fall. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions. Basically, we're looking for just concurrence of the bid and concurrence of award with the contractor contingent upon receiving FAA funding. What'll happen is if that is moved and done tonight, we will submit the grant by next week. We will wait for federal authorizational funding. That'll come in June or July. Once we have that, we'll coordinate with the contractor to get it done, and it will be done this late summer or fall.
Brad, what could you tell us about anything that you saw that would give indications to the discrepancy between the bids? The one seems, I mean, it's great to have a low bid, but is there any compromise there, or because they specialize in this?
There was three main things. One was the mobilization was about $5,000 cheaper, because the bids total were about $20,000 apart. It was $5,000 for the mobilization, about $10,000 of the crack sealing material on the crack seal, and then the seal coat application itself was about $4,500 or so different. So that's really where it came from. The big things I can point to in coordinating with them is, again, that's what they do. So they have, I think they're buying in more bulk so they can do a cheaper price. The firm that is selected is their home office. I don't know if they're based, but they're based out of Wisconsin. So they are traveling all over the Midwest already. So their mobilization, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense that it'd be cheaper, is because they are wired to move all over the country and coordinate that. So I think that was the biggest things. The other thing is we're seeing a lot of fluctuations in the market right now with the uncertainty of pricing and materials and scheduling and COVID. And there's just lots of reasons why bids are fluctuating quite a bit these days. The other thing I will say too that could add to it is KDOT has plenty of work out right now, and the contractors aren't very hungry, especially around Kansas. And when they're busy with work, they don't try to win projects as hard or be as aggressive. So that could have been part of it too.
But they come highly recommended. I mean, I know that we've worked with Votes Parga before and have had positive results. But
yes, Votes Parga, but Votes Parga was not the low bid. The low bid is Farner Asphalt Sealers.
Sure. So just knowing that they come highly recommended, and
yeah,
you're going to give us the equal.
Yes. Yep. I have no reason not to recommend them at this time.
Sure.
Just so you know, Votes Parga was going to sub it out to Vance Brothers. So Votes Parga would be doing work, and Vance Brothers would have been doing work. I think they're out of Kansas City.
Okay.
And that's probably worth noting. Votes Parga would not bid this project in a normal situation. The only reason they did is because they are doing the runway now and just the coordination. So I do believe they took Vance Brothers' bid, who Vance probably would have done it on their own, and they added fees for Votes Parga to kind of oversee it too. So that might have been some of the reason it went up also, the discrepancy.
Okay. Answers my question.
I move to approve the bid for Farner Asphalt Sealers LLC and the total amount of $94,546.50.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hutchinson, seconded by Commissioner Wentz, to approve the low bid from Farner Asphalt Sealers for the taxiway seal project in the amount of $94,546.50 with FAA approval. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. We'll be in touch, I'm sure, in the near future.
Moving on to lifeguard training package purchase.
Mayor and Commissioners, we've been talking for a couple of years probably internally about the lifeguard training and the cost of it. Where I do some dive rescue training, there's a sister company called Lifeguard Pro. We've done some talking, was able to become an instructor for them, and we could lower the cost if we went with them, 100 tickets, lower the cost. We've been paying $225 a student to train lifeguards. If we do the instruction in-house through Lifeguard Pro instead of the Red Cross, we can lower that down to $59.99. We've talked to the insurance carriers, they were fine with it. Other communities have been using Lifeguard Pro in Kansas. So just kind of a way we was looking at trying to save money. We're spending quite a bit of money up front because to get the best price, you order 100 tickets or 100 packages to train lifeguards. But we can use those over the next 2 to 3 years to train the lifeguards. So everything would be in-house. Coordinating it would be a little bit easier where we're in-house, and we're just looking at ways to try to save the city money.
Is there, you said next 2 to 3 years, is that just because we train so many lifeguards a season, or is there an expiration on these tickets?
There's no expiration, but we train so many every year. And one of the things that the lifeguard certification is going to, years ago, when I first started in lifeguard and that stuff, it was a 4-year certification. It's went to 2-year. The industry is going to a 1-year certification. Lifeguard Pro has already went to that. So where Red Cross is a 2-year certification. So we'll be using these almost every year, training up lifeguards.
How often will you need to go and get retrained or recertified?
It will be part of my dive instructor I do. So it took some upfront, quite a bit of time, but after that, it's just going to be
Just be rolled in with that?
six more skills added to my lifeguard or the dive instructor and dive rescue. And it would cost $100 extra a year for me to stay an instructor. So overall, it's going to be quite a bit of savings to the city.
I think it's really a good idea. I mean, we've had so many challenges in the last several years since I've been aware of it. Just finding somebody to actually do it and then getting it scheduled. So kudos to you guys who've come up with a solution. I hope that it works out as you think it will. So
I don't have any concerns with it really, and that's a sister company to the dive rescue company I teach for, so it should just be pretty smooth. It's going to be kind of nice. The kids will be able to study and do the book work at home online when it's convenient for them. We'll get together, review it, do the test, and then do skills. They'll cut down their time in a classroom too.
and I read that we might be offering this training to other entities, other lifeguards in the area. Is that?
I sent out an email to all the clerks in the county. I only heard from Milton Vale, and they go to Clay Center already. In fact, she says usually they get lifeguards from Clay Center because they don't have enough to do it just in Milton Vale. But I hear from the others. So, I mean, we could put it out to,
Like Republic County?
yeah, we could put it out to Belleville and Beloit, and because they fill up, they do it at Beloit year round.
Oh, yeah.
But they fill up really fast over there too, because we had trouble getting in there because we don't hire anybody until March. And they used to email and say, why don't you go ahead and we'll get you scheduled in January or February. Well, we didn't know how many we would have. So,
How many lifeguards do you hire a year?
we try to do 22 to 24. I think right now we have about 20.
Good.
So, but we'll, you know, as Eric says, have to do it every year. We'll be doing at least 20 every year.
I like the idea of well-trained lifeguards.
I move to approve the purchase of 100 training spots with Lifeguard Pro for $5,999.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Hash, second by Commissioner Hutchinson to approve the purchase of 100 training spots, Lifeguard Pro for $5,999. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the contract for Image Trend Elite Rescue.
Image Trend Elite Rescue is an off branch of what the state has went to for EMS reporting. For the last 20 years, the fire department's been using Firehouse. For the past 2.5, 3 years, they keep selling the company to bigger companies. Our customer service has went down. We can't even anymore add new users. We have to call somebody and they have to do it from their end. We're having a lot of problems when we send stuff to the state reports. All the data is not going through. Salina went to Image Trend Elite Rescue about a year ago. They've been real happy with it. We've been messing with the demo and we like it. It's something that works good with the state system. One of the nice things is with the iPads, when we go out to do inspections, we can take pictures of violations and we'll be able to use it for Bruno's group, where Firehouse wants an extra $2,000 to do that. We've decided, we feel like it'd be the best decision to go with Image Trend Elite Rescue, get away from Firehouse and go to one system. Right now, when we put in an EMS report, it goes into one side of Firehouse. It talks to 3 different groups to try to do reports, and we're losing a lot of data. So this would clean things up, make it one nice. Talking to people that's had Image Trend for the past 3-4 years, customer service seems to be real good. And we will be able to share information with Salina and other entities that are already using it. So we won't be starting from scratch. We'll be able to steal some different forms and data that they've already been using. It is a little expensive up front, but part of that is just the training and the coordination of it, and then it will equal out about.
How does it compare currently to Firehouse?
Well, we pay for 2 different softwares right now, Meta NXT and Firehouse. NXT is our EMS, Firehouse is the fire reporting, and we spend about pretty close to $6,000 a year for both of them. It's $5,000 and some change.
So really after the one-time fees, the recurring costs are fairly similar with the improved.
Especially if we bought the extra parts, so we can use the iPads to do nuisances and inspections, which we used it the other day on an inspection, the demo side of it, and it worked really nice. And I think Bruno's planning on using it for building inspections, and I think it will be a better benefit for everybody.
Added value. Great.
I move to approve entering into the contract with Image Trend for $9,720.
The move by Commissioner Hash, second by Commissioner Wentz to approve entering into the contract with Image Trend for $9,720. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks, Chief. Moving on to the manager's report.
Aaron Fisher, just a couple of things for you. Went to the county commission meeting on Monday and they did open the bids for the annual sheriff's tax sale. We had, I believe, 5 properties on there that had special assessments on them due to demolitions and non-payment of nuisance abatements. And when those go to sheriff's sale, once they sell, the last 4 years of specials are wiped clean and only the current year stays. The money that the county receives from that sale, the bid amount, goes first to pay for the cost of advertising the sale, then it goes to pay any back taxes, and then it goes to specials. So for the last several years, we have not gotten anything towards specials. But the good news is that 4 of those 5 properties did sell to owners that seemed interested in maintaining the property, so that's good. The last property, the county commission is still trying to decide what to do with it, but it is a home that could be considered an unsafe and dangerous structure, so we're kind of working with them on some possible solutions for that. Then there was also 2 properties that are on East 11th Street around the substation on the south side. And visiting with staff, those basically are undevelopable. The setbacks off 11th Street cut into the property on its south side, and then there's a drainage easement that goes on the back side that cuts into the developable area. And so conversations with the county commission, they decided to deed that property to us. So we know that in normal circumstances, people can deed property to somebody else and we don't really have to have an acceptance. They can just go record it. But for the purposes of this transaction, we've asked the county commission to have the deed prepared, bring it to you for formal acceptance so we have it on record and then file it. So that's the process we're going to use for that transaction. Also should mention that Ron's crews have been maintaining that property for several years because of the public drainage easement back there. So it won't be any change to what we're normally doing as far as maintenance goes. It's not eligible to be placed into the land bank because it's not developable, and the whole intent of the land bank is to turn property back around and get them back on the tax rolls. So it'll be just held in the city of Concordia's name and not land bank name. That makes sense. Next, just little update on the alley project, and Ron and Jeremy can chime in if you want, but or why it did finally get started. Kansas Gas is still working. The work Kansas Gas is doing is between Broadway and Washington, and then into between Washington and State. The alleys are really rough right now, and so Ken Johnson is working with Kansas Gas and their contractor to get a solution to get those back into a safe and usable format, because Orwise is going to be they're in Broadway now, and they're going to be working to the east on the alley. So we want to make sure that that schedule is maintained as much as possible with the businesses, and they've been really understanding so far. So we want to try to maintain that trust. So work is occurring and everything. We're trying to get things back in order, but going slow with the rain, so pray for good weather. And citywide cleanup status. Ron, did you want to give an update on that at all, or in your reports?
Yeah.
Go for it.
We've been around and we picked all the tires up so far all over town. And pretty much all the tree limbs are picked up. We have just from east of 81 Highway, from 5th Street to 18th Street to finish up tomorrow. And then we should have been over town picking up everything for them. So
That went fast,
you know,
faster than the last time we did it.
there wasn't much out there or something.
There were a lot of tires I saw.
Yeah. I calculated it 600 and some already since they started. I don't know what they got coming in tomorrow.
We did put out a little press release today on that, letting people know that as of 1 o'clock today, where we were at. We had advertised and asked people to put stuff out before 8 o'clock Monday morning to guarantee pickup. And so we reminded them today that anything that's left when we're done is going to be considered a nuisance, and we'll go after those items again with a courtesy letter, letting people know and giving them a little bit of time after we're done to pick it back up.
You know, there's a few people putting stuff out still after we get them picking up. So
I don't know that there's really ever any way to completely eliminate that. I mean, I think it's just going to happen, but I think we've really done. I mean, I'm hearing from a lot of folks that they're really glad that we're doing it again this year. Other folks think it's great that from one person was talking about it from a health perspective, just getting rid of all the mosquito farms. And that, you know, the savings that we have, we're spending labor picking up these tires, but we might be saving labor spraying for mosquitoes if we keep having all these mosquito farms out and about. So have the wash, but hopefully doing something to improve our communities.
Last thing is we concluded our employee food drive, and pleased to report that we did have good participation, a little bit less than last year, but it was still good overall, at about 46% participation from employees. They donated a little over 2,200 items, non-perishable items, and we raised $840 to turn into perishable items when we go to deliver. We'd originally planned to deliver the items to the resource center yesterday, but with the snow, we decided to maybe wait for a little bit better weather, try to prevent some slips and falls going in there. So we'll plan to deliver those items, I believe, next Monday afternoon.
Great. Staff reports.
Just want to mention we have a drug take back Saturday from 10 to 2 right here in the City Hall library lobby. So
I wanted to give you guys a quick update. A while back, I brought to you guys kind of the rundown on how we would do the eminent domain proceedings that we've been working on. Ran into a couple, not really roadblocks, just it's taking more time. The notice requirement for this procedurally, I finally just sat down and talked to the judge, and the complicated part of this is that we don't know who these individuals are because that information allegedly is not available. So we know where they last lived. Generally, what we do is we just publicize, put it in the newspaper, wherever that area may be. That can be expensive, but that is the only method that we really have in these situations. Given that this is a domain proceeding, an eminent domain proceeding, sometimes that can be a little tricky. And so I had to have kind of a discussion with the judge, who was a little basically she said, are you sure that's how you want to do it? And I said, well, that's the only way we have to do it. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with that. I have my arguments ready because she said she'd look extra close at it. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that so that we can go ahead and get that file get moving on because it is a process. If you guys remember, we have to, well, not we, the court appoints 3 appraisers who will meet and go through all of that stuff. Come the end, when the money is paid, that will also be something that has to be figured out because we have people who need to be paid that they don't necessarily know who they are. So that may have to be held somewhere until a point in time those folks may come. So moving along with that, and then also wanted to just kind of give kudos to Stacy and Chief Voss and Thea McMillan. We had a hearing this week on the set off. Which I don't know how often we have those, but not very often. And they had everything ready to go. So we kind of hit them from 4 directions. Stacy had everything ready to go. Chief Voss remembered these folks and the situation that had occurred, was able to let the administrative judge know that as well. And then Dia had all of the billing stuff right there and actually had recorded when phone calls were made. So when somebody made a comment that they hadn't received certain things, we were able to look back and say, yes, in fact you have, and then you just never got a hold of us. So I appreciate all of that because that then makes my job easier. And I was able to kind of just let them take the wheel on that one and get that taken care of. So kudos to them. I think too many times we hear about stuff that we don't get right or things that we need. So I do appreciate their work on that. And I think we'll be successful. We did a great job. So
Good.
thank you.
Good to hear. Not surprised, but good to hear.
Yeah.
Other staff reports? Commissioner comments. I'll start with the birthday gal, Marcia.
Thank you.
I was asked not to sing, so respect. That would be my gift to you, is not singing.
Okay, I'll accept that gift. I had a question for Bruno. Is there any recourse we have for buildings downtown particularly that need repair?
Yeah, we have several ordinances in place that have to do with lighting, missing windows and things like that. But as far as structurally sound, I'm not sure it's too big of a thing. You might have to get an engineering firm or something, do an evaluation if you're thinking something's ready to crumble. I know we have some buildings that can use some maintenance and repair, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, I've had concerns, and you probably know who,
Well, there's few around.
that people are concerned about maybe crumbling
Mhm.
when you can see through the mortar between the bricks. It's a little concerning. Just wondered if we had any recourse to do anything about that.
We do.
You want to provide us the addresses at some time, or it doesn't have to be tonight, but just
Yeah.
sometime we can follow up on it?
Oh, it doesn't have to. But, yeah.
Otherwise, thanks to the crews for doing the pickup. That's extra work, heavy work. So appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks to the crews, and also, Chris, I know you had successful drafts the other night I heard about, so I think kids are excited to get back into the game this year. That's awesome.
I had a question about the manhole area in the alley. Well, actually, it's in the street. And yeah, what's the status of that? That's been there for an awful long time.
Jeremy, you should be able to answer that because Jeremy's sewer line's got a hole in it. That's why it's came down.
I figured there was a problem of some sort.
I think they was gonna do it this week, but they helped us pick up tires.
Yeah, I'm not trying to rag on anybody, but I've been asked by some of my neighbors.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig up the manhole and do some repair work. Pour a cap around the whole thing.
Sounds like a job. Okay, thank you.
I would also offer some compliments. I've had some friends that have been working on a project, and I think that there's always some back and forth between property owners and codes and trying to get this and that. But I've had some really positive experiences working with Chief Voss on the fire aspect of it, and Bruno working on the code, making sure everything is done well. It's kind of a different kind of project, but it's under a pretty specific timeline too. So really appreciate. I know they appreciate the guidance and getting things checked off. So they were able to take occupancy and moving forward to the next phase. So again, as Justin said, I think often are told how we don't do things right, but it's good to hear that that's really not the case very often. So appreciate all the responsiveness and being able to be approached, trying to be business friendly and address new people with new ideas and help them get things going. That's something that we've talked about being important for us to do. That's all I have. I kind of wondered why, the snow plows are usually supposed to run if we get certain inches of snow, but I think probably with the forecast, just figured just let them stay docked. And
Flipped the electrical switch and melted it off this time.
it was a pretty snow that I was really glad not to have to shovel. Hopefully
Yeah, that was nice.
we can really embrace spring.
Kids were disappointed. They're convinced they weren't gonna get to school. And I'm like, look, it's not on the streets or anything.
It's big.
It's a perfect snow.
Exactly.
Was.
Hopefully we'll enjoy a week of spring before tornado season starts. Anyway, information agenda, the sales tax quarterly report. Anything really exciting that you'd like to share?
Nope. We're doing better than we were last year. That's why, says I don't have to speak on that.
You don't have to, just
Doing better than we
giving
were
you the
last year.
opportunity.
That this was pre-COVID last year, so.
Again, I think that
it's
really
Going well, I guess.
Yeah.
speaks to the value of shopping local, speaks, I think, to what happens when people spend their money in town. And I think that it would be interesting from somebody that really likes statistics. I enjoy hearing statistics much more than studying them. But to see how true that would be in other communities and where it was true that local communities actually did better as a result of dollars staying there instead of flying. All right. At this point, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. See no other business.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Hutchinson, seconded by Commissioner Hash to adjourn the meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.